And the last thing is, the training school and annual meeting of the Association of Towns is happening January, one is in Rochester, one is in Albany. I guess they got too much of a hard time being in New York City, so they changed it. So, anyway, that's my report. If anybody wants information on those, training sessions, let me know. That's it.
Okay. Anybody have any questions? Bill?
Everything on the highway department is good. It snowed a little yesterday, nice, you know, I like it. What I wanted to ask the board is, we have some surplus equipment over there. Would it be all right if I sat down with Ken and we draw something up to put it out to bid? It's stuff that we're just, it's just equipment, I mean, it's not,
Stuff that should go to the
it
bone yard.
should go, yeah. If someone want, if not, then the next step is the bone yard.
All right.
I mean, it's nothing worth $100,000, it's just run-of-the-mill
Scrap metal,
junk, well, equipment, trucks, you know.
yeah. On something like that out to bid, can we, I mean, eBay is basically an auction. Is that a viable,
I don't know, by the time you move everything or whatever, I don't know enough about eBay to,
yeah, I don't know
I just
anything
put
about
it
it
in the
either,
paper
but,
like we always do.
I think the motor division is a whole different ballgame than just the regular division in eBay.
no.
Well, there's a website where municipalities can put that stuff online.
Right, Auction International.
Yeah.
I gave Ed some information on it some time ago. Yeah.
A lot of municipalities are selling stuff and they're getting.
Drink out of their coffee cup every day.
They're getting more for their stuff on them
Yeah.
websites.
You do.
It's worth looking into.
Well, we could look into it.
Check
I mean,
it out, but
yeah,
I
we
mean,
can
I'm
check
not-
it out.
I'm not gonna pay to truck it to wherever they wanna truck
No.
it to.
No,
Well, I
no,
guess
no,
it's
no.
responsibility.
Pick it up as is.
As is.
Yeah.
And if worse, if it just sits there, wait for the price of scrap iron to go up and
Well, that's
sell
what,
it at
that's
top
what I would
price.
do, is
Yeah.
scrap myself anyway, but
That would be trucking it out to Ferndale. That's the most
that's
you
what I
have
would
in
do
it.
with it.
Auction International?
Mhm.
Well, auction.
What is the price of scrap now, any
I don't
idea?
know, I don't.
I wonder, if you wanna say a few things about the shared services agreement that it's gonna come up later?
Well, the supervisor for the town of Forestburg, Bill Cycles, he came up with this idea that we should be having an agreement for shared services, which, that's what the state wants us to do anyway, but it's been going on for how many years, you know, and so anyway, everything was done, and apparently, he was the one who didn't agree to it at the end, but everything is taken care of. So all you had to do was sign a resolution saying that it's all right for the town of Delaware to help one of the other 14 towns or the state.
Which is
or
what
the
we've been
county.
doing anyway.
Right, this
Or-
is
or
just a
vice
legal
versa.
doc. Right,
Without, we've been doing without an agreement.
right.
Well, we
Which
passed
has
it.
always, which has always worked out fine. There's
Yep.
never been a bean counter, which, you know how that goes,
Yeah.
but
And we passed a
No, in
thing.
August you
on that.
talked about
We
it, 'cause
discussed
Bill
it.
just gave me a copy, and, you talked about it, 'cause you talked about mutual aid, but you guys never did a resolution authorizing Bill to actually enter into these agreements.
Oh, we
So-
didn't? I thought we did.
No, you didn't.
Okay.
Well, it's not too late.
no.
Okay, we're gonna, that's on, new business. All right, you done?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Howard, you're up.
Well, it continues to be a very busy year. We've now got 8 new homes this year. Only one is a modular, the other 7 are stick-built.
Hmm.
And nice size homes. And the rest of, a lot of other work. I think we're a little over, just over 100 permits now this year. So,
Had you busy, huh?
yeah. So it's been, good.
Okay. Renee?
Nothing really to report, except that, just to remind people to renew their basic store exemptions before December 31st. And I cannot renew them in my office, it has to be done through DTF. And all the other exemptions, we'll send out the renewal letters in December. And that's about it.
And you wanna say anything about how we're progressing with the inventory and,
It's going
And then we
quite
go?
well with, we have probably 1/3 of the town completed. Data collectors have done very well, it's just very time consuming to review the data, make the corrections on the computer, and then send the letters to the homeowner, so, it's taking longer than I thought it would, but it's progressing.
but we're
and-
progressing along, we're not off target by much?
No, no.
Kara's not here tonight. I'm just gonna say a few things. Kara's our grant coordinator, but in the last, I'm gonna say 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Tess, Kara have really spent a lot of time working on these grant applications. And of course, with us, the most important grant application is Coletown. And so far, we're encouraged. I'm not making any promises that we're gonna win the grant, but we're encouraged. I mean, we've progressed as far as we could, I guess, with software that was impossible. I mean, honestly, I could not have done it. I would've been frustrated, I'd have probably thrown the computer through the window.
Oh, we were frustrated.
These gals, yeah, I heard some of the fun. But there were things happen like, I mean, and this is a substantial application. This is not a two-pager. And there were things like, they would get almost done with the application, and then something would pop up and have to fill that out, and only to find out that they lost everything they put in.
Oh.
It actually happened a couple
Must be
times.
designed by the same guy that did that other one.
Yeah. But here's the part that I wanna, you know, we had a deadline. When we actually got the application in our, from the state, because they came down to see us 3 or 4 weeks ago. But by the time they actually got the application, because they said they were working on their software and working on the application, we only had 2 weeks to get it done.
Yeah.
And, you know, you all know what's been going on the last 2 weeks. I mean, in addition to elections, we had some people that were going on vacation, and so I can't say enough about Tess and Kara, how hard they worked to get that done,
I know that.
and they can't get enough credit. I mean, now Kara's not here, so I can't ask her to take a bow. And I suppose I'd get a smack if I asked it.
Wait till we get the money and then.
Yeah, and if we do get this grant, this Coletown grant, we're gonna have a happy dance around the table.
Yes.
You're all invited.
That's for sure.
It would
But
be
I have to say that, because when people really, you know, when people go the extra mile, and they went the extra 10 miles, I mean, really, they did a great job. So I have to say that publicly, so that everybody knows how hard they worked. I was gonna do that as part of my report, but the Calicoon Creek Park Committee is not here. UDC report.
Okey doke, here's the news. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Technicolor right now.
We're still above the long-range median. It's way over here in the corner. I got 3 people here that you can see. It's hard. I can pass one around. Would you like to see that, Tom? You can see it. The long-term, the storage, this is as of Friday. Neversink was at 77.7%, Perpactin at, what is that, 76? Looks like, gotta get my glasses adjusted.
75.
75?
75, yeah.
Okay, Cannonsville is 65.1. That's the one that they bring
Mostly.
down mostly because
Mostly
of
because, yeah.
that's what comes in the Delaware River. So that's that's water, and we're still above the long-range median. We had quite a meeting last Thursday for the monthly meeting, and it started off with a group of people who were very concerned, and have been for years, about flow issues, the amount of water coming down the Delaware. And they did an extensive study, and they looked not just at the Delaware River, but they looked at the Catskill system and the Hudson system, and the Croton one, and they looked at that whole thing, and they found out that those two have been down. A lot more water is being consumed out of our river over here because the other two have been shut down for so long. So they've made some things that they would like to present to the DRBC to make sure that that the city gets their fair share of this water, but at the same time that we're not left holding the stick on the wrong end here. So it was very well done.
Who did the study?
Oh, I can't remember. It was a conglomerate of fisheries and the riverkeeper and all these people. It was very well done. I thought it was, in fact, hopefully that will be, they may have it on the website, on the UDC website, so you might be able to plunk into that and see it. If you can't get it, let me know. I'll try to get a handle on how you can access it. The DRBC is pleased to announce the release of 2 new interactive maps on its website that allow the public to access select commission dockets and permit holder information, as well as certain data from non-tidal Delaware River Basin water quality monitoring stations. In other words, instead of having to go through a lot of hoops to get this information, they've made it so that you can go online and get that kind of stuff. If you're interested in it, just tap into the DRBC. This is a little bit of news for people who hunt deer. The DEC was at our meeting. They're part of the UDC, and there are regulations issued to protect New York State deer population from chronic waste disease. We've heard about that before, but now it's become written in stone. If you get a deer in the state of Pennsylvania, you cannot bring it into this state. You cannot cross the line, period. You have to have it butchered, and if you want to have the thing mounted, you have to have somebody totally cape it out over in Pennsylvania, then you can bring it in. Because they're afraid that this chronic waste disease might decimate our deer herds. But I had a problem because the deer don't know that, you see. So I asked them if they're going to have people monitor the deer crossing from Hancock to Port Jervis and tell them, go back, you can't come over here, we don't want you here. And if you start to come over again, I'm gonna tell your father when he gets home from work.
The herd can stand a little thinning too.
Yes, it could. But anyhow, that's the law. The next one is, this is a good one. The DEC, hopefully a good one, DEC issues new general permits for temporary stream crossings for timber harvesting. A lot of people who harvest timber have to cross these little bitty brooklets and so forth. And you always had to go to the DEC and get a permit and wait for somebody to inspect and all this stuff, and it delayed and delayed and delayed and cost time, and time is money, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So now they have a new program in which you can install and place a temporary bridge across a piece of water that you're going to use to bring your tractors and machinery across and the logs out and all. That as long as that bridge is no longer than 30 feet, all you have to do is notify them you do it and go ahead and do it. So they don't, it just eliminated.
Up to 30 feet.
Yeah, up to 30 feet.
Sounds like
So
a CB.
the bridge. Now, maybe you should figure out what they mean by 30 feet, make sure it's right. If it's over 30 feet, you have to notify them, and then they'll have to come down and do the regular stuff. But there are, from what he was telling me, they've already got temporary bridges available. I don't know whether the state owns them or who owns these things, but if you're in a situation where you need one of these smaller temporary bridges and you don't have one and you don't have the time to build it or the money or you can go to them, and if one is available, you can utilize one of their bridges. I thought that was interesting. Anyhow, perhaps that's a step in the right direction with our DEC. DEC, and I appreciate that. Interesting enough, this is a report from the superintendent of the Park Service. And he puts together, this is people who visit. These are visitors and access. In fact, I'll give you this, Tess, if you want this. They monitor people coming into the, they want to know how many people are using the river for what, all these different recreational uses. Interestingly enough, it has really gone down this last year. Zane Grey, the visitors to the Roebling Bridge is down by 28%. The Moncop access is down by 25%. Narrowsburg Info Center down by 14.7%. Other ones have gone up, the educational programs and so forth. And
Do they have any data on the liveries, you know, the landers and the?
let's see, this is, visitors, Narrowsburg, no, this is all governmental stuff, but they get that information from them too. So, no, this is all general stuff. Where was this one here? The visitors to the Lackawaxen access is down by 52.9%. So is this the economy doing this, or what is the deal? Then there was another issue that has come up about accesses. You know how the Sullivan County is trying to get some accesses, more accesses and all, but they're not even listening to the river management plan or to the Park Service. They're just gonna go ahead and do these things. Well, they can't. It's not, they're gonna get themselves in a boodle of trouble. So there was kind of a thing there trying to figure out how they could get the county and other entities to realize that when they come in that corridor, there are regulations and there are things that they have to adhere to. So perhaps they can get this, so this is a good thing, they can work together instead of getting off on the wrong foot here. Another thing too, if you happen to like to fish, there's going to be a Zane Grey Catch and Release Open Fishing Tournament. And it's going to run from April 12th through July 6th. And it will be for smallmouth bass, rainbow, brook, and brown trout caught in the Zane Grey waters of the Delaware and the Lackawaxen rivers. And it's a catch and release. They will provide you with a certain type of ruler so that you can lay the fish down, take a picture, and put it back in. Now, when you have a guide who can hold the fish on there, that's great. But if you fish alone like me, that fish ain't gonna stay on the ruler. So I asked them if I could put my foot on the fish and put a little pressure on it. But they said you couldn't do that. So that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you. I kind of gave part of my report regarding the work that was done on the grants. The only thing I wanted to mention, what you mentioned, was the river access. The county is working on obtaining some grants for river access.
That's
And
right.
we're having a meeting next week. I just looked at the date and forgot it, but it's.
Is it
at
the
6 o'clock.
supervisors are gonna,
Not just the supervisors on this end.
oh, where the
Yeah,
western.
and some other people, like I've invited Rick.
I would suggest that they, oh, I forgot something too. I would suggest that they try to do the best to work with the Park Service, because they kinda get insulted when people don't even
Well,
pay any attention
the Park Service
to
is
it.
gonna be there. at the
Oh,
meeting.
good, okay. That's a
And
step.
some other people, Rick Landers, I know
Yeah.
is somebody that I asked to come.
See, it puts them in a situation whereby, if things aren't done according to Hoyle, then they have got to take steps to do what they have to do, and it just causes problems. You might better start that in the right direction from the get-go.
Well, this is really this initiative is really part of the Park Service and the county working together.
Yes.
So I met with them twice. We looked at some sites and
Yeah.
a couple of different mornings. This is an evening meeting at 6 o'clock. I guess it's open to the public down in Narrowsburg at the Tustin.
Okay, that's, well, right, by the, you see.
So-
One more thing I forgot is that the superintendent, Sean McGinnis, announced at our last
That's right.
meeting that he will be retiring early in, about mid-January. And of course,
How long has he been here?
oh, gosh, it's what, 4
Four-
years, 4 years, yeah. Because the response was, geez, we just got him trained, now he's leaving, you know? But anyhow, the big concern for the UDC and for us folks here is the mess that the federal government is in right now. Where will this go? Will this be something, will they'll say, okay, let's take the Park Service downstream, down around where that Tox Island thing was, where they created one, and we'll have him take care of this. Well, these two, this is a scenic and recreation area. wild and scenic recreation area. It is not a federal park. The park, they don't own anything, they're only here to manage the river. But down below, it's like a regular national park, where they own the land, they create all the regulations and the laws, so there's just two opposites here. The reason for this park up here was because, again, I don't wanna beat a dead horse, but the thing about it is, the people own the land. The towns create the zoning for their land. The towns work in conjunction with the Park Service in protecting the river as well as private property rights. That's not so in the national parks. So we're concerned that hopefully that they will let us have a superintendent who will be just ours, so he can get used to what it's like up here and do the right thing all the way through. So, I'm sorry to take your time out on that
No,
one. I'm glad you reminded me about that.
Okay, council comment, is anything you guys wanna bring up? I'll go to old business. Now, we just had a public hearing at 5 minutes to 7 here. You were late. To go over the sewer rates for both sewer systems, which we did. So I would entertain a resolution to adopt the sewer rates
So moved.
that we discussed.
I'll second.
You got it, Tess? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, new business, the shared services agreement, that Bill mentioned a few minutes ago, you have did you look at this?
Yeah, I've seen it. I mean, I've seen it before.
Okay, so
I
Council-
haven't had one.
Council,
Delaware,
you
right?
don't have any problem with it,
I just didn't think the highway superintendent approved it. Oh, did you?
you don't have any problem with it?
No. In fact, it's a uniform agreement that's being used countywide, and really what you need to do is approve it as to form and authorize it to
Right,
be
okay.
executed by the highway
Yeah.
superintendent.
Is this the
at one
same
meeting.
one we
Yes.
talked
Shared
about
service.
a while back?
You know, I gotta ask Ed while I'm thinking about it, the snow and ice contract for the county, did you sign that yet?
That's on the agenda.
That's on the agenda, that's after this one, I
I
think.
did sign
All right, just so we don't
it, I
forget,
did sign it, but.
and make sure you get your money by December 31st.
I'll make a motion that we
Okay, I have a
Adopt
motion
this,
by John, second by
Second.
Al, regarding the shared services agreement.
Right.
All those in favor?
Aye.
That's the only one we have, Al, it's with us now, so you give it back to me when you're done. Okay, the next new business is a resolution for the snow and ice contract with the county.
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Okay, you got that?
I got it.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Ed, you signed it already?
Yeah.
Did you say? Did you keep, anybody keep a copy for me?
I'm sure it really has. Okay, under new business, we need a resolution adopting our budget. We had our budget hearing on the 7th, I think it was, of November. And anybody wanna talk about it?
We talked about it, budget,
Yeah,
and
we
the
talked
hearing,
about it.
budget
Good.
workshop and the
Yeah,
hearing,
that's
I'll
good.
make the motion.
Good. I'll second it.
John will make the motion and Al second it. This is a resolution to adopt the budget.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
The last thing I have, although we have to go to executive session tonight. We have a personnel matter that we have to discuss, but, somebody wanna move to accept the abstract?
Vouchers, I'll do that.
By Harold, second by Cindy, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any public comment? Okay, then, somebody move, I guess we don't wanna adjourn it, we gotta move into executive session.
No, we can't.
So, and then We're gonna come back and just adjourn,
into
folks, so-
executive session.
John, second, and Cindy. Thank you all for coming.